Hello. So today, it's not Hannah. I did some research for her. She didn't know exactly what she wanted, and I know today's supposed to be a conspiracy video. So I decided to do some conspiracy videos, or conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. So these have all been proven that they are actually things that happened. I got a kind of a short one to lead up into it, and then I got a small one. I got my computer here with me, so that way I can just kind of paraphrase, and I can always link the sites in the description for you. I found a couple of very interesting ones, things that I've never heard of, or something that I might have heard of, but I was too young to kind of know about it, or things that have already passed. But anyways, so the first one I've never heard of. This one is called the Tuskegee Syphilis Study. It's a Tuskegee Institute. I'm not actually sure where it is. I can look that up. So Tuskegee, it's in Alabama. So Tuskegee, Alabama, their institute had a study called the study of, actually the whole thing's called study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male. So they specifically worked on African Americans. Not sure exactly why, but it involved 600 men. 399 had syphilis, 201 did not, and it was only supposed to last about 6 months. They didn't tell them. They didn't tell them a lot of things. They didn't really give them consent. They just said they were being treated for bad blood, which was described for several ailments, including syphilis, anemia, and fatigue. They didn't get proper treatment. Matter of fact, they got free medical exams, free meals, and burial insurance, which, burial insurance kind of just sets off the whole tone. Somebody told me, you get burial insurance, so you're gonna kill me and then pay for it? That's kind of what it sounds like. So it was supposed to last 6 months, and it started in 1932. Well, it ended in 1972. It went on for 40 years. So apparently, they're being kind of treated for syphilis without actually treating them. So they would give them fake medicine, or just kind of all the things that they could do to kind of just research it more than anything else. When penicillin became available in 1947, it became the actual oh, this is what we're going to do to actually treat syphilis. It was kind of their go-to drug at the time. The researchers didn't tell them that. They didn't tell them anything about penicillin. They didn't even try it. They didn't even use it. They didn't tell them nothing. So they just kept going on with whatever they could. They didn't actually try to treat the men, is the problem. They didn't. It was supposed, the guise was that they were actually going to treat them. They were going to help them. They didn't try at all. They mostly used them for experiments as guinea pigs to study it more than anything else. And it went on for 40 years before a lot of people kind of took notice. They've been, let's see here, the panel, there was a panel of 9 members. It was called the Ad Hoc Advisory Panel. They had 9 members from fields of medicine, law, religion, labor, education, health administration, and public affairs. And they kind of got involved. And it was finally concluded that it was ethically unjustified. I can kind of sense it was ethically unjustified from the beginning, but it took them so long. But, so they didn't really help them. So out of, when 1973, they had a lawsuit that started. So on behalf of the participants and their families, $10 million out-of-court settlement was reached. The U.S. government promised to give lifetime medical benefits and burial services to all living participants. The health benefit program, Tuskegee Health Benefit Program, was established to provide these services. So they kind of like here it's I mean, to be honest, if it was still under the Tuskegee name, I would not trust it. But I mean, if they're still providing services to some of their people, even like 2009 was the last no, 2004, the last participant kind of he passed away in 2004, and his widow died in 2009, or at least the last widow did. However, the children of these people are still receiving benefits, and it's I don't know how long it's going to go on for, but I mean it was kind of messed up. CDC was given responsibility for the program, where it remains today. So I mean it's so they didn't really do much for them, actually. They told them they were going to help them, and then they just didn't. Let's see here. Some of the aggressive treatment was like with mercury and bismuth, and the cure rate is less than 30%. Side effects could be toxic and sometimes fatal. Requires months of treatment. Um, Efforts made to hinder men from getting treatment ordered under the military draft effort in 1940. So they didn't actually want them to get treatment, and the military kind of signed off on that. Let's see here. Any other interesting things I could find? 1972 is when they first started like noticing. So they didn't even know. Like people back then didn't really know, and they couldn't really do anything about it. If you don't know about it, you can't do anything, you know. But I mean, still, it's the fact that somebody still let them do that is the problem. So I mean, it was kind of messed up. So the second one I have is probably more well known, but it was before I was born, and I probably heard about this. It was in 1990. It was the quote unquote fake news that propelled the U.S. into the first Gulf War. So we didn't really like everybody was kind of against going into Iraq and like actually participating in wars. Like we're like, you know, it's not our fight. We shouldn't do anything about it. There's, you know, nothing for us. I mean, the government was like, oh, there's oil. I mean, that's obviously what they want, and to take out what terrorism groups that were believed to be there. They didn't actually know, I think, at the time, but I want to quote this part. In October 1990, a 15-year-old Kuwaiti, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, girl gave a harrowing testimony before the Congressional Human Rights Caucus, recounting inhumane atrocities committed by Iraqi soldiers in her country. It was credited for helping draw the U.S. into the Gulf War later that year, and end quote. So her the problem was is like, oh, it was televised, like hundreds and hundreds of like stations, like news stations and televisions and stuff. Like it was everywhere in the US. Like it was purposefully put out there, and it seems like, oh, um that's good and all, like oh, like now they really wanted to be part of this war. The problem is that everything that she said was made up. Um, Iraq had actually denied the allegations. Um, they're like, we're not. So the things that she said, like some of the things that she said, were that where did I see it? The problems and the events described were complete fabrication. They said they were taking what she said that she witnessed is that 15 Kuwaiti, I think that's right, Kuwaiti babies out of incubators and leave them on the floor to die. Like they were basically, she was telling them where they're doing all this inhumane stuff. Like people are just dying left and right. They're just terrible people. And Iraq's like, no, we're just fighting our war over here. Like we're not actually that bad. And I mean, people were like already like okay, we need to go stop these people, because it was that's what they were saying. So it says found that patients, including premature babies, did die when many Kuwait's nurses and doctors fled, but the Iraq troops had not stolen hospital incubators and left hundreds of babies to die. It was so that they it was like an exacerbated thing. Like, oh, it wasn't because they fled because of the war. It was because these guys came in and like took them out of their incubators so that way they could just die. So the that's like some of the things that she was saying was that they targeted hospitals on purpose. And I guess the main thing was just mostly baby stuff, but the problem was everything was fake, and it was she was actually told that she was actually approached by somebody from like what was it, Bush, I think was the administration at the time, and they were like, oh, she's Kuwait, she can help us sway the public opinion, and they paid her to say these things, and they had her take acting classes, and they had her like basically go over it like a theater kid would their play. And that's basically what she did, is she performed in front of like 700 plus television stations in the US. And Bush actually repeated the story at least 10 times to like try to like, we need to be a part of this, we need to stop these animals, and it worked. That's the problem, is that it definitely worked, and now we're still over there fighting. So the reason it was like found out, I guess it was just like journalists were escorted by Iraqi information ministry officials in Kuwait and found that doctors at Kuwaiti maternity facility denied the incubator allegations. So like actual journalists went over there and was like, no, that's not what happened. This, we're doing fine. They're not targeting the hospitals. Like, so it's just like a couple of stuff like that. A couple other like things you can find on some of these websites that one of the websites that I do was looking at was just some it's literally titled Unbelievable Conspiracy Theories That Were Actually True. Like MK Ultra, it's been touched on so much I didn't feel like doing MK Ultra. But another one that sounded interesting that maybe she can do another one is Operation Snow White. It's the Church of Scientology versus the US government. Of course, there's CIA assassinations, but I mean, we don't need. That's always been touched on as well. Fascism in America, Operation Mockingbird, the CIA propaganda machine, I think, has also been touched on. So, like, some of these are more well known, but it's just the fact that they're actually true. Like, it's been proven. Like, usually conspiracy theories, you're like, oh, this couldn't be, or it's blown out of proportion or something. These are like, no, these are right. So I'll leave those links in the description for you, so that way you can see it. But honestly, that's kind of just it. If you want, go ahead and look up some more conspiracy theory stuff. Like, honestly, conspiracy theories are good and all, like, to keep your mind thinking, like to make you question things, to make you actually research things, but they can be dangerous. You can't believe everything that you read. You have to do like multiple site research. I did the research on multiple sites to make sure that those two that I touched on were true. It's just the ones that I'm going to link are the ones I pulled information from to speak to you guys about. So make sure you actually do your research, because it could be dangerous tool as well, just like the 1990 Gulf War news. So yeah, I like conspiracy theories in a way that I'm like, oh, this could be true, but it's also terrifying. Like the fact, like, oh, we could be in a simulation. That's terrifying to me. And that's honestly about it. So, I'm trying to remember what she says again. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. Please like and subscribe to Hannah Renee, which is this channel. And also subscribe to Coman67 while you're at it. That's my channel. I help her out. So that's going to be it. So I already said that. Have a good day.